I did mention to you, I had a little look when I was up here earlier, just walking through. Today is what day? We're on, I have to check my head now, Monday the
8th of May.
There we go.
Yep.
So we'll be able to tell now, we're just decided we'll have a little chat before this is revealed in its entirety, just to have a little idea of what the work went into it, so people can have a little appreciation that it wasn't just appeared out of nowhere, it wasn't magic, it wasn't fairies, it was actually IRINA KUKSOVA working away in the theatre, the artist in residence.
Yes.
Big project. I mean, does this start in people's minds? I don't know how many months ago was it sort of planned or mentioned?
It might seem like something new and done like this to people in town, but actually we started talking about it with Ross in 2015, I think.
Wow,
early
there you
spring.
go.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so it's been a while, and then the whole idea developed. There were a number of concept designs for this, and then this is one that we're going for. It's I think 1, 2, 3, 4, probably fifth. Yeah,
Fifth of the okay, there you go.
Fifth concept design, because we changed the topic and things happen during
it's
the
like
years.
album sleeves and all that. And I'm sure even every piece of work, art that you've worked on, if it's that sort of thing of finding its proper shape, it can take a little bit of time of deciding on little factors that enter into the picture. And
it has to. It's a baby. Like
there
it has to
go.
grow and develop, and there are changes. It's in its child form, adolescent form. At the moment, it's adolescent. It's all over the place. But it will grow up into a beautiful adult.
Ba-boom. Well, we should say even at this adolescent stage, it is a few tons. It is a big baby. So this idea that we're looking at, you were saying this might be something like about half of what the scale. You see, that's the amazing thing. When it's the old Dougal trick, far away, small, far away. When this is up on the wall, it may seem like, well, that's pretty doable. But this is how many sections you're.
It's a lot of work. It's 15 boards altogether,
right.
And here you see 6. So this is just under half of it.
Gotcha.
And I've been working on this since April. Well, in fairness, I do only work like a couple of hours a day, because with this type of job, you have to be very careful. If you have a bad neck, you really don't want to overdo it. So that's what I'm trying to do. Right. Very slow but steady wins the race. That's the case. I'm
glad to see that Ross provided security for you too, just in case anybody tries to break in any way, shape or form. But he's one of those ninjas. He just doesn't move at all. He's been brilliant. I've tried to frighten him, but he hasn't budged. He's pretty good.
No ghosts has been seen here because of this guy.
So we're thinking of the kind of date-wise, we're aiming for roughly like the month would be. We didn't put a date on it, but the month was hopefully.
That does not fully depend on me.
Okay. Yeah. I suppose there are different factors.
It will be
obviously, when we reveal it, it'll be
summer.
obvious. Yeah. There you go. Summer. There we go. But the amount of work that gets involved in something like this, when you actually start on it. I know you're saying that you're going to do hours here and there, but it does. I would imagine if you add up the hours, it must take weeks upon weeks of actual adding up those hours, because it's not a small scale. It's not a kind of color by the numbers.
You have to plan really well, because when it's such a large scale, it's one thing when you buy a canvas like this and a starter's paints, but when it's about 50 square meters. It's a different story. You really have to calculate all the supplies that you will need, all the support that you will need. You have your finalized design, then you break it into the panels you're going to work on, and then you have to find somebody who sells you panels at the right price, and they deliver. And then people who actually bring it upstairs, because the panels are really heavy. Thank God we have guys here who do.
Good old Dave and the gang, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're brilliant. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Then you have to sand the boards, prime the boards. That's a lot of work as well, and that took me a week and something.
Wow.
All the 15 boards, and then you can leave them to dry for a few days so that they dry really well. Then you can start transferring the drawing. But how do you transfer a drawing that is, what would we call it?
Well, just your blueprint on a computer, or just that scale?
No, I have a drawing, and then I break it down into the panels.
Another
I know the size of the panels.
Like,
it's a jigsaw, but then you have to transfer it on the actual panels in proper scale.
Yes.
So you have to really work on it well, because if you don't transfer it right, then something will look really out of place.
Does it ever, I'm sure it must get a little bit tunnel vision when you're on a big project like this, that you just keeping clear vision of the end product, and just that tiny fear we all have when we're working through the night that we've just buttoned something wrong, that we'll find out at 4 or 5 in the morning when it's due in at 6 that we made a mistake at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock we have to go back and rearrange. But I'm guessing, you know, you've done this, you know, a lot, and you've got beautiful murals around here at Theatre Lane and beyond, and your wonderful paintings and all that. So it's not like this is a kind of a new thing to you. But the scale, does it frighten you at all, or is it like this great thrill to?
It doesn't frighten me because I know I can do it. Otherwise, I wouldn't say I can't. But I just, when you think about the length of the project, then you have to learn how to break it down into chunks so that it doesn't scare you. And in fairness, if you have a client as good as Ross, he is very accommodating, and he's like the best client.
Yeah, but I think he loves and knows, you know, that it's like an artist's kind of work, and I think he appreciates every second of that, and therefore, like, he's just willing to you know, go with you and say, this is the best, you know, that you'll know better than me, and what do you think? And so that's a great thing, not to demand things that are a little bit too off the menu. And I did notice actually when I was up here earlier, are they for inspiration or decoration? They're amazing. The little.
No, that's not my artwork.
Okay.
That's something.
But maybe it's a toy you bring with you for good luck, a charm or something.
No, it's not mine. But it does cheer me up a lot.
Yeah, I was just thinking that's kind of fitting. All right, that's a little perfect. I'm just thinking. I would imagine they're going to get a slight surprise when they turn around and see this guy just behind them, which is always the way, I guess, for small fish.
Actually, it's all fish themed. It's all related to Greystones because a seaside town, beautiful town.
Well, we will of course, as I said, put this up just on the day, and that will be decided when it's going to be revealed. We got to say a big thank you to SuperValue. The dailies have been great, and Paddy has been great too. They completely love the idea of this wall being used as something beautiful and something colourful, and I can imagine, for children especially, it'll be somewhere to go and sort of, you know, see it and be able to sort of say, oh, come on up around the corner, I want to show you something.
It's like a landmark. It's something that people really remember the place by.
Sure. And I think those little, you know, art is about that magic thing where, you know, if it's slightly hidden especially, and then you kind of, it's like the Christmas tree in New York. When you come around the corner, you suddenly see like a 100-foot Christmas tree. It just sort of knocks you out. There's something about it just being around the corner, and next minute, boom, you know, somebody's months and years of planning, but months of work.
That's exactly the point. And that's why we're putting a lot of time into it, and it's not rushed, so that we can get the best that we can do. That's
another Ross approach, I think, which is always going to work.
Yeah.
But beautiful. People will be able to, by the time they see this, they'll be able to head down to SuperValue, see the side of Theatre Lane and the theatre itself and Greystone Studios, and see the completed product. But I tell you, even now you can kind of see the scale of it. So beautiful, and I'm sure the effect of just something that large looming, especially when, you know, the night kind of kicks in and there's a little bit of light playing with it and all that. Rock and roll.
Yeah.
And you will put my name or somewhere?
Absolutely, you will always be there. Yeah, somewhere hidden under the fin.
That's
somewhere.
great. Yeah. You could blend me into the blubber. I think that would work. Okay.